Well, hello, weirdos. Happy Halloween.
Hey, weirdos.
Yes, this is it. It's Halloween. This is Halloween.
This is Halloween. Boo.
Happy
Boo
Halloween.
for you.
Happy Halloween, Shannon.
Yes, happy Halloween to you, too.
Thank you.
Yay.
This is going to be part 2 of more movies that we watched. Our 31 Days of Horror, which I think we now have both decided never has to end.
But also, we didn't make it to 31 days. We've only done 20.
Did we start late?
We start late.
Okay, we've watched 20 titles, and one of them was a series on Netflix called Zomboat.
And not counting what we're going to watch tonight.
Which have we decided what we're going to watch tonight?
Maybe Halloween?
Okay,
on
maybe
Halloween?
I think we should watch Halloween on Halloween.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And I've not seen the original Halloween in a long, long time. We watched that real bad, what is his name? The last Halloween. We watched that last year. The sort of...
Yeah, where she was in her house all like Rambo'd up.
Yeah, but it was written by Danny McBride, who we love, and this movie was fucking bad.
It was. I was shocked how bad it was.
Well, what's scary? You know, talking to my friend at work, Matt, who's a real fucking horror guy, is like, yeah, because what's so scary about a geriatric Michael Myers? And it's true. I mean, it was scary when he was chained up. We're totally talking about a movie we haven't watched.
But we did watch it.
We did watch it. We watched it
But you know
last
what's
year.
funny is that, like, you're right. All of a sudden he gets away. And he's just on Halloween, he decides to get away.
Well, he escapes the prison. There's a bus crash. He gets out. And then for some magical reason, he goes back after Laurie Strode randomly at a different house.
Doubt he was in the same prison as the same town that he committed all these things
That's
in.
true. They usually move prisoners.
They move prisoners around on purpose, especially ones
so
like that.
when they escape, they don't just walk back to the neighborhood where
Wouldn't he
they
have gotten
committed
the
all these
death
murders.
sentence?
You know, I don't know. Have you watched all of the Halloweens?
I have a long
think?
time ago.
All
I
of
think
them?
so. There was a
ton of them.
point where there was a Halloween where it was like modern Halloween,
Yeah,
and it was like just ridiculous. And I was just like, no, this isn't the Halloween I remember.
Yeah. The first Halloween is the best one, and I think he reluctantly made the second one. I'm talking about John Carpenter, and then after that he was out, and then
I can see why.
Yeah.
I like when they did it with Nightmare on Elm Street too, where they just got out of hand.
Oh, you mean drove an idea into the ground and
They
then just
drove
kept
it into the ground and killed
milking
it.
Yeah.
They literally Halloween their own movie. Like they literally killed their own movie.
Yeah. But anyways, we will talk more about what we recently watched in this last week. Since we recorded the last episode, we've continued and we've watched like another 8 or 9 movies.
We did.
Do you want to talk about Slumber Party? I'll take that dramatic pause out. Do you want to talk about...
Let's just go in the order we have them on our list.
Yeah. So Slumber Party Massacre. What a great title.
What awesomeness this is.
And
My slumber party was never like this.
Nothing like this.
Or did I ever slumber party and have my tits out? Just all my friends take our shirt off and just bounce around, decide to dance.
And that's what's so... This is a weird, creepy sentence. That's what's so great about this movie. No, what was so bananas about that is that there's 3 versions. There's 2 sequels to this movie. The first 2, which we watched back to back, both directed by women. Yet all these girls are together having a slumber party. Well, they take their tops off. Yeah, that's like every boy's fantasy,
but never the real thing.
And never
have
happening.
I never had a slumber party where we took our tops off and go, hey, music, let's all bounce around and throw pillows and feathers go everywhere. That's just never happening.
Never gonna happen.
That's what a man thinks is happening,
which I would have fully expected from a male director.
You know what we're doing? Face mask.
And pillow fights.
Never pillow fights.
God damn it.
Face mask and maybe some alcohol, but
right.
Never anything. It's always just sitting around watching stuff, watching Halloween.
Right.
My Girl Scout slumber party, we watched Thriller and had pancakes.
Fuck, that sounds awesome.
I never saw another Girl Scout's tits. I never saw their cookie.
Oh. Jeepers.
This is the ridiculousness. I would love to see a horror film where it's actually like a real slumber party, what you actually do, because that's ridiculous.
You have the IMDb up in front of you. What year was this movie made?
This was made. Oh boy. Okay, it was made in November 12th, or released November 12th, 1982.
Okay. So 1982.
I was pretty young when this came out. I was born in 75.
You were 8 years old.
Yeah.
So the premise of this movie and what I think... Oh, go ahead.
I would say the budget was $250,000.
Looked like it.
Wow. That's pretty good.
That's a lot of money in 1982, though.
No, but I'm saying that's a really low budget for what they did.
Yeah. Well, it's a B
I mean,
movie.
there is no clothes on, so wardrobe was very minimal.
It's true. Put this on now. Take it off. This movie, I think, could have been a lot better than it was. One of the biggest problems is right away, right out of the gate, they lost all suspension by showing us the face of the killer within the first 5 or 10 minutes of the movie.
They were balls deep in it right at the beginning.
And it wasn't...
They were just like, here's the murderer. You don't have to guess. He's going to come out. He's going to get a drill.
Right.
And just drill everyone.
And not only that, in 1982, were there basically battery-operated drills? I thought everything was electrical and plugged in.
Let's see.
So the fact that he was walking around with a drill, I think it started at a school, right?
What year was the first battery-operated drill?
Let's backtrack the shit out of this. I bet you the military had them in 1982.
Maybe.
But I don't
but
think
they
the
had the
general
ones
public.
on compressors. 1961.
Well, okay, then I'm a fucking idiot.
The first cordless power tool was unveiled by Black & Decker in 61.
Wow. Okay. So maybe I'm way off.
61, they were drilling on the loose.
Maybe my family didn't have it. Maybe my dad didn't have one.
Well, we didn't have a
for
microwave for the longest time. Everyone had one, and we did not have one.
You cannot go around killing people with a microwave. I can tell you that.
Gremlins.
You didn't walk around with a microwave. You trapped a gremlin in a microwave.
You could, though, if you put something... There has been murders with microwaves. If you put something metal that you can blow them up in the room.
Yeah. But what do you think of the drill and it's a giant drill. Like it was
it's one of those industrial drills that you're making like a massive hole.
What do you think about it as a murder weapon?
The one drill that you put holes in doors, maybe? It's really long.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll take a lot of time and it's messy. It's just going to go everywhere.
But also hard to probably hit the target. So easy to get away with. Easy to knock out of somebody's hand or easy to... Like it's not like a blade.
You know how you drill and you slip?
Yeah.
I see a lot of slipping happening because he's trying to drill the skull or the neck. And it's just like, well, the blood's slippy.
Yeah.
But then it's all going to go into his face. And when he has to pull it out, it's all coming out with him. All the goo.
Totally true.
So, I don't know. It's funny.
It was funny. I mean, it's
it's loud.
The
you
movies,
can't secretly kill someone with that.
The sequel, I think, was many years later. It's set.
Sequel was written on someone on drugs.
It was. Well, we won't talk about that one yet, unless you want to talk about the two together at the same time. But they're so different.
We'll talk about the sequel after. Yeah.
Okay. But so the first one, I'm trying to remember. There's popular kids, and was this the one? Yeah, it started playing basketball, right? And so one of the
girls playing basketball, which they sucked.
Playing basketball with no bras on.
I like when they were playing basketball and the girl went to go for a shot and all the other girls just stopped trying. They're like,
nice.
okay, we're going to let her take a shot. Yeah.
But the other fun part of this movie was how friendly the girls were with their basketball coach. Because, like, when shit starts hitting the fan, they have their coach's phone number. They call her at home.
No parents. Call your parents.
No, you call your coach.
You call your coach.
You call the coach.
I've never called my teacher ever.
Again, both my parents were teachers. I didn't have direct access to any teacher's phone numbers.
No. And you don't call your coach. I mean, maybe if you're in a sport, you have your coach's number.
Maybe phone the police.
You can phone the police. You can phone your neighbor. You can't phone your neighbor in this case because
he got killed early
he
as
got
well.
killed early, but he was also creepy.
Well, that's the thing. That should have been the thing in this movie. Is they shouldn't have revealed who the killer was because it would have looked. It could have
Potentially been the creepy neighbor,
and that would have been great.
Yeah,
because he was watching over her because the parents were away for the weekend.
Yeah,
and he knew that the high school girl that he lived next door to was gonna have some friends over. That's creepy.
And he saw them pull out pot, and he's like, and they're like trying to hide it, and he's like, just don't go overboard. Like, he was good. He smells good though.
And also, he walked into a room and
they were in their underwear already.
Didn't announce himself. Walked up right up behind one of the girls and tapped her on the shoulder.
She was already in her underwear.
Yeah.
So creepy dude walking into a room full of girls with their underwear on.
Yeah. Man.
They were already half declothed.
Yeah. They'd already been dancing around.
And meanwhile, these boys are at the window watching the whole thing.
Absolutely great. This is exactly the fantasy that every high school boy had.
What was funny is the boys were at the window watching them.
Yeah.
And then one of the girls comes to the window and empties a cigarette ashtray out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So movies have changed in that aspect, that they're smoking
in the house.
They weren't smoking joint, but there were cigarettes in it too.
And I don't know about you, but you're not smoking cigarettes in your girlfriend's house.
Maybe back then.
Maybe
back in 82.
Yeah, possibly.
Did you try cigarettes in the 80s?
I tried cigarettes once in a bar. Like my friends smoked, and I tried it once, and instantly my eyes just started watering, just fucking completely leaky eyed. Like,
I tried it once and hated it.
Yeah, it was not.
I hated it. Anyway.
And that's the only time I've ever tried it.
Yeah,
it's not like I coughed or anything. I was just like, this is terrible.
It's awful. Why do you see this? And also, I hate it because with my parents smoking, I never liked it. It made me sick. Yeah. So the idea of smoking is dumb. The fact that anyone starts smoking these days are stupid.
It's a little astonishing.
It's astonishing. It's like, I know cigarettes will kill me, but I'm gonna try it anyway. Why do we still have it?
Boy.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember. So obviously, how this movie ended is a lot of the kids get killed. The coach gets killed. There's trauma at the end. Wait. Let me backtrack. There was a girl that didn't get invited to the party. Oh no, bad girls. The girls were talking about her, and she's on the basketball team. Mm-hmm. The girls were talking about her. She overheard them. Yeah. She was a new girl in the town, I think.
New girl.
Or something.
Always the new girl.
It's like, no, she's nice. You should invite her. It's like, well, okay, I guess you should invite her. Like, one of them was a bitch. Yeah. Anyways, she said, no,
Aren't
she
they
can't.
all? No.
She said, no. So when the popular girl went up and asked her, because she really liked her, and she was
a
good
bitch
at basketball.
Because she was good, yeah.
So then turns out she lives across the street, so it would have been very easy for her to come over, but
didn't notice the new girl moving across the street, because I would.
Yeah, totally.
I would totally notice. Hey, there's kids.
But anyways, there was strange noises coming from across the street. There was strange noises in behind her house. Mm-hmm. So she was babysitting her younger sister. So this girl, they never really described or really established how old she was. I think maybe she was 15.
They said she was 15.
Okay.
On part 2, they revealed 15, and then like so many years later, 3 years later, or something like that. Yeah. They had to make her 18 so they can show her boobs.
That's exactly right. So, some of the stuff was suspenseful. Some of the stuff, there were some good murders.
I have my favorite murder.
Oh, okay.
Or not even a murder. My favorite scene.
Yeah.
Which is the one token black character in there. They killed the pizza guy.
Oh, right.
I asked the guy drilled his eyes out, and when they enter the door, the pizza guy's standing there with his drilled eyes out, and he falls forward, and they're like, ah!
Right.
Later on, they're like, we're really hungry. Out of all the, like, running from the murderer, like, hungry, though. I was like, never thinking about that when someone's trying to kill me.
Yeah.
So they looked at they watched in the living room on the way to the kitchen, maybe?
Yeah.
Just take a break from hiding.
Yeah.
And the woman the black girl saw the pizza guy on the floor, and they're like, wow, he's really dead. So they got on the floor, and then he's cold because they're feeling him. And then she goes, but is the pizza? And she reaches for the pizza, and puts the box on top of his body and opens it up and grabs a slice and eats it. And she goes, I feel so much better.
She's a cold-blooded bitch, man.
She ends up dead at some point.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But funny. I love it. It was my favorite scene. But it's the pizza.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Someone was
pretty
proud
good.
of that line.
Yeah, there was some good drill bit deaths in this movie.
Yeah.
And
I just don't think a drill would drill into your body that fast.
well,
It would tear it up and get stuck
because
in your skin.
well, a couple of things that happened. He would swipe people with it and sort of like do a gash across their chest or something.
Yeah.
So
It would
I
have to
can
be
see it doing
razor
that.
sharp,
It
though,
would
to
be,
do that.
yeah.
Like, it's tough to do that. Like,
Also,
I feel like it wouldn't actually work for as much as you think
A
it
lot of
would.
the characters were so paralyzed by fear, they were just down and he was above them, and they're just screaming and don't have use of their hands miraculously, and then would just let him drill into their head.
Which which one? Was it 1 or 2 where they took a machete and cut the drill in half? Was it 1?
I don't remember. I think
Someone got the idea to use a machete and it like took
I
the
think that
thing
was in the
off.
first one. I think that because there was at one point where the boys are inside the house. They're working with the girls. They've got some weapons from the back of, like, I think in the tool shed.
Yeah.
And they sort of get ready and try and fight back. And I think somebody cut the drill bit in half, or cut his arm off at one point too.
Yeah.
And then there's a classic death where the killer falls into the pool.
Yeah, it was great.
You knew that shit was gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, I highly recommend watching this one. I think I would rewatch it again at some point because it's so ridiculous. And do we want to move on to part 2?
Yeah,
because
I think
we have like 7 more things to talk about.
I think we totally need to talk about number 2, part 2.
We'll do a quick talk about number 2.
Yeah. So 1987, the sequel comes along, and it's written by someone else. It's produced by world famous B movie producer Roger Corman. So that tells you how awesome this movie is. And there is ultimately a Slumber Party Part 3, which we haven't been able to find anywhere yet.
Yeah, it's called Slumber Party Massacre 3.
So Shudder has the first 2. And this movie is so much worse than the first movie, but also...
It's called Slumber Party, or is that the baby? No, that's the BabySitter.
No, it's just called Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Yeah.
And this one, I think, has no connection other than the one character, the younger sister that survives. The 2 sisters survive. The younger sister is now the star of this movie. It's been a couple of years. It's 2 or 3 years later. She's traumatized.
I do have to say
the killer does not show up for a long time in this movie.
The number 2 is more thought out. They kind of trick you at the beginning to think something's happening, and at the end they reveal what's really happening.
Yes.
And I won't say it because I don't want to ruin it.
Don't ruin it.
But I want to say quickly, my favorite part about this one is the fact that the killer is somebody completely different doing the same thing, but he's dressed like a Thunderbird from Grease.
Yes.
And has a guitar with a drill bit attached to the end.
It's one of the coolest murder weapons you've ever seen. That makes no sense.
He literally is like, and he plays like in his little guitar pose and just comes after you.
So this whole movie. So first of all, let's say that Crystal Lynn Bernard, who you might know from the sitcom Wings in the 1980s. This is a younger version of her, who's the star of this movie.
Yeah.
She wasn't in the first movie, so this is a new actor.
She's playing the sister.
Yeah, she's playing the sister.
Grown up, yeah.
She's having nightmares. She's imagining. She's seeing a face, but the face is not connected to the person in the first movie at all.
It's like they're connected somehow.
I understand the trauma. I understand that she's going through a lot of stuff that she went through, and it makes perfect sense that she would be traumatized.
Oh, but she's also
imagining somebody completely different, which makes
I think
no sense.
where it came from is she's in a rock band.
There's that.
She's in a rock band. I think she's connecting her rock band with the drill, the murder guy with the drill. So that's how they came together. But now I'm kind of giving it away.
Well, you're not really, and this movie's so bad it doesn't matter. You should still watch it. If you love terrible movies.
It's actually more thought out than the first one.
To a point, yeah.
But there's a twist, right? Like at the end, I thought it was her sister in a mental institution that their mom was talking about, but it really wasn't.
Yeah.
it was her, right?
It was her all
It was her all along. But I don't want to ruin all of it. But I kind of feel like now I just put it together thinking about it. She was in a rock band and she has this trauma and she's putting the two together. Because he actually sang a whole scene there where he did like he sang before he killed someone in the hall who could have just got up and walked away while he was entertaining himself.
This one is the reverse. It's not the parents gone away. It's the kids going away to one of her friends. Her father is separated. He's got a new condo somewhere, and they go on a road trip to go spend a night at the cabin or weekend at the cabin so the band can rehearse.
Yeah.
And of course, the boys over here, and the boys are going to go to that cabin. Oh no, the boys were invited, but they're going to show up the next day.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's also just bad. Like it's entertaining. It's campy. It's
Did they
fun.
keep their clothes on this time, or did boobs come out?
Oh, there was boobs right away.
Immediately,
Also,
slumber party, you show your boobs.
They get there. They're drinking champagne in the living room. Tops come off. There's a very...
I don't think she does it, though.
No.
Bernard, she doesn't take off her top. She does not,
but there is a pillow fight with feathers everywhere. They're ripping apart pillows. So, like, that's just rude.
Yeah.
But then the next day they get up and they're sitting poolside. I'm just like, what place do you go to when you arrive in the late evening and you find out that where you're staying, there's a pool, and you just spend the whole evening in the living room?
You'd be in the pool right away.
You'd be in the pool immediately.
Right away. Right away.
The whole time.
Yeah.
But, again, she's experienced stuff. She's freaking out. She's seeing things. She's imagining stuff. They're all like, whoa, what's wrong with you? This is weird. And then all of a sudden, everything becomes real. And all of a sudden, the killer is actually there in the house with them. And then a lot of fun activities happen.
Yeah, it's a good time. I highly recommend. And I really hope we can find number 3 because... it was good.
I can't imagine what's going on in number 3.
It was good. There was a lot more funny parts that I know of that happened in there, but I don't want to ruin every single one of them, but definitely worth watching.
Definitely go watch the trailers.
I think everything that we're mentioning, I think, is worth watching besides one.
Yeah.
And that was the one from before.
The lady something.
The witch love?
The love witch.
Love witch from the before. It was not worth watching.
I don't know. I think somebody should watch that too.
You can watch it if you want to just be like, what? Huh?
Yeah.
This makes no fucking sense.
Then, okay, the next couple of movies that we have, the next one is Monster Party.
Monster Party was interestingly thought out.
What did you think of Monster Party?
A very weak ending.
We watched this movie over 2 nights.
Yeah, it started off really, really good. Like, I wasn't sure we were going to continue watching it but it gets into it pretty quickly. And when they said Monster Party, I thought, when I read what it was about, I thought, oh, is everyone going to turn? When they go to the party, they're all like these different kind of creatures and they're going to turn. But it turns out that this is a party that's held 3rd year in a row where they're celebrating their sobriety of not murdering people.
Yeah. Which
is crazy to think. So it just goes horribly wrong. Clearly someone can't keep their shit together and they just need to murder. So they immediately kill like the first waiter. They hired a wait staff for this party. Really shitty gig to get, by the way.
And that's an important point. The movie starts with 3 friends. A girl who's played by Erin Moriarty that you know from she's in The Boys. She plays Starlight in The Boys. 3
Actually,
of them are...
she's not. She's the sister of the murder family.
Oh, you're right.
Yes.
My apologies.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 3 unknown actors, really, that are basically breaking into a house. They're doing some robberies. They're doing some small-time break-in entries. Then it's revealed at some point that one of the guys' father has a gambling problem, and the son goes down to try and find out where his dad is, and they're beating the shit out of him, and his dad owes $10,000, and he's like, okay, well, will you give me until tonight to come up with $10,000?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, they have this other opportunity where there's this big gathering at a rich house that this girl normally does catering for, and there's a vault there, or there's a safe there, I guess, And there's a good chance that they've got lots of money.
They just thought that they robbed a couple houses before
Yeah.
that and got like $200-$300, and they're
Right.
like, we need to do more. So they're gonna cater this party and try to break in and steal stuff. And it
oh
goes.
boy, did they pick the wrong
They
house.
went horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Their crime was not as bad as the crime that's going to happen in this house.
Right.
And so as soon as they kill the first guy, the psychiatrist who's there to help them through it was just like, what did you do? You killed the first. But not only did he kill the guy, he cut his hand off and he walked down the hall with his hand and was like waving at people with it. Like, clapping with his hand.
So it turns out it's a family that they're all killers.
A family and a couple
basically.
friends. Yeah. And it looks to me like the couple friends were like turned murderers at one of these things. And now they're going to rehab.
Right.
But like,
it's an interesting concept that wasn't executed.
Yeah.
The setup, I think, was pretty good.
It goes well to a point where like, okay, now these 3 wait staff are on the run in the house. They can't get out. And they're trying to get away from everyone in the party is murderers. So they're all trying to kill them. And so you're not just running away from one murderer. You're running away from like 6 or 7 people who love to kill.
Right.
And there's some things that are revealed at the end. Like there's there's another murderer in the family that they don't talk about that's stored in the basement.
Right.
And it goes, it's still worth watching, but the end is kind of weak. That's the only thing.
I think the movie was really good the first night we watched it. I think we watched like maybe half.
Yeah.
And I had to work the next day and we started a little bit late. So we watched like an hour of it. And then when we picked up the second day, we really had high hopes for what was going on.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
But
it started off really good. Great concept.
Yeah.
Still worth watching because it's still an interesting concept. I kind of feel like they could have done a little more with it, but yeah. I think it's a fairly newish movie too. Wasn't like 2018 or something.
Yeah, let me just double check that. Monster Party 2018.
Okay, yeah, I was right because I remember looking it up. So it's a fairly newer movie. So yeah, let's talk about the next movie
So the next movie that we watch, I found out from my barber, who is also an actor, he's actually in this movie.
Yeah.
And so he's an up-and-coming actor, has been in a lot of stuff. He was in, he got to play his own name. His name is Donovan Stinson.
And they named him Donovan still.
But he was in it. He played a bartender in a Jason Priestley TV series. That's probably the biggest role that he's had. But this movie is called Dead Shack. This is a movie where he plays the dad and
a dysfunctional dad.
Yeah, an alcoholic drunk dad. And who takes his son and daughter and a
shitty
friend
girlfriend.
and new shitty girlfriend to a cabin in the woods. Shitty murder cabin. And there's something happens at the neighbor's place.
Yeah.
And he's fucking terrific in this movie.
Yeah.
I will say. Like, he's the highlight
funny.
of this movie. He's really funny. He's really hilarious. He's drunk the whole time.
And who's the woman in the cabin they discover is the woman who basically is like zombies she's keeping in her house. That, I don't want to ruin this either, but there's zombies in her house and she has to keep feeding them.
Yeah.
But I want to reveal who those zombies are. But like, so they see this because they're peeking in the window because that's what you do. And instead of leaving the creepy property, they decide to look in the window and they see her feeding a little girl.
Right.
Like she gets people to come back. She'll go to bars and get men to come back and she knocks them out with drugs and then tells these kid zombies, time to eat, come eat, so she's clearly done this for a while and she's all geared in her armor not to be bit or anything. And then she locks them back up.
So that woman is played by famous American-Canadian actress Lauren Holly, which you're going to recognize her. She's a little bit older now. You're going to remember her from Lauren from Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
And I think she was involved with Jim Carrey at some point.
Probably. I didn't think her character was strong enough for this.
She is not a great actress.
No, and they could have, I guess because of who you can get, but anyone else would have been better. I think she just doesn't seem like she was a strong enough character.
It's hard to say. Was it the role? Is it her?
Sometimes you're affected by the writing.
Yeah.
Of course, this movie isn't like 100% like amazing, but it's fun. It's a fun watch.
But at the same time, look what Donovan did with his role, and he made it literally stand out. The kids
No, he
were
was
pretty.
good in his
The
role.
kids were pretty good. I thought the girl was the strongest.
son was the most annoying because he wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Yeah. But maybe that was the character.
I really was hoping the son would die.
I thought one of the kids would die for sure.
I wanted the son to die.
Yeah. Same.
Because he was annoying, and also he's the one who started the whole thing and got, like, he threw a rock at the truck window in the car, and that alerted her that they were there. He was
dumbass.
just like, I'm gonna break the window, and then idiot. It's like, dude, just go ahead and just kill my brother because he's an idiot.
Would you watch it again?
It was fun. I'd watch it again for sure.
I definitely want to watch.
I
more
would
stuff.
hope. I would want there to be a number 2, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Who knows? I definitely want to watch more stuff that Donovan has been in because he's doing the thing, man. I want him to be successful.
Yeah, maybe you'll interview him one day in your SmittysBrew podcast.
We will. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. We scheduled it once, but he had to cancel because he had a film shoot.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna try and reschedule it at one point.
Yeah.
So why don't we take a quick break
Mm-hmm.
because the next couple of movies coming up, one of them has been one of the movies that has scared the both of us ever since we were kids.
Yeah.
And we watched it finally last night.
Yeah, we did.
So we'll be right back and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome
back.
to
So,
the street. I can't remember the whole song.
welcome back, Kata.
Yeah, but I was trying to think
Kata.
of the next line.
Welcome back. Were your dreams from things that we laughed about?
I keep mixing up with WKRP.
Both great themes.
I know, but they're kind of
But that's a new
similar
topic.
song. Yeah.
That's off topic.
Anyway.
Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit out of order, but I teased this before the break, so we've got to go right into this.
Yeah.
And that was the movie called, what is it?
Hellraiser.
Both of us.
Pinhead.
You have not. You tell me your feelings about Pinhead and
Pinhead
Hellraiser.
scared me, and I mentioned this before in a podcast where I went to a Halloween party or bar once, and the guy got out of the car as Pinhead, and then he put stilts on and got higher and fucking made me shit myself.
Yeah.
Not literally, but pretty much.
Yeah.
Emotional shit. And just the whole night I had to leave the bar at some point because the whole night this guy was towering over everyone, so I just felt like I was gonna be strapped up on chains with pulling my skin at some point. So I just was like, and when you're drinking, it just heightens the craziness. So, but yeah, and just watching, every time I try to watch Hellraiser, it starts off creepy already, and I'm like, no, this isn't for me. It's gonna freak me out, and I always try to watch it by myself. So I just never watched it. I was like, nope, not for me. So, but last night you guys forced me to watch it, and we did.
So I've had a similar thing, and I'm starting to wonder. I vaguely remember some sort of Halloween party or a gathering that I had at maybe my house. I remember seeing Hellraiser, but all I remember is Pinhead. So it's after watching the movie last night, I'm convinced I've never seen this version of it, or I watched 2 seconds of Hellraiser. I'm like, nope, and I got the hell out of there. So all I remember is the Pinhead thing.
I remember the slimy body guy.
I remember bodies and hooks into bodies and stretching people out.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a huge part of this movie. So
I remembered the slime guy in the other room that he was waiting to get other people and kill him to build his body back up.
Okay.
I remember him, and that freaked me out because he was half body at the time.
Right.
And I couldn't get further than that. Like,
two things happened in this to me last night too, which was we're watching it not on home video. We're not watching it on like a 21-inch TV, and everything was really, really crisp.
Oh, and the little
And I'm
TV.
also not 11 years old.
Yeah.
So this movie was not really that scary in any way.
It was more cheesy.
Everything looked cheesy.
Yeah.
Everything looked fake and phony.
Yeah.
And 11-year-old me finally got over a lot of his fear.
Yeah. Yeah. It
But
wasn't
I
as bad
still
as
wonder,
thought.
like, did what I see wasn't the original Hellraiser? Is some of the other Hellraiser movies more about Pinhead and those
I
other
think
and
so,
his buddies?
because number 2 has picture of Pinhead right away, or they both have picture, but it looks like it's more focused on him.
And it's probably also that thing where I would ride my bike with my brother and we would go to the video store.
Yeah.
And I would see the covers of the videos and I would see Pinhead
You'd be
and
like,
that would just
"No."
like freak me out and maybe that was just enough. And so I've built something up in my
Yeah.
mind that wasn't really ever there.
Can we talk about how Pinhead's sidekicks? You know,
Oh, yeah.
the lady sidekick is cool.
Yeah.
But then like she's like Mad Max kind of chick. And then the other one is like a weird version of the guy from Matrix.
With the glasses.
With the glasses.
And the weird body.
In the weird body.
Yeah.
Are they called centipede? No, cinemides?
Oh, let me...
Cinemide?
Cinemide, something like that. Let me...
Lady cinemide. But I don't know if the other guy's a cinemide.
He's an anti-Cinemite.
He's something. He's a goob. He's like a slug. 87 was the movie. I can say.
Okay, so 1987. This is a Clive Barker written and directed movie, and the word we are looking for is Cenobites.
I was close. Cenobites.
Yeah.
So what is the one guy called with the glasses? Is he a Cenobite?
That I'm not sure about.
Let me just see if I can find him. Although we don't know who plays him because he's basically in an outfit. Oliver Smith played Frank.
Oh my God, you're not going to believe this.
What?
Guess how many sequels Hellraiser has?
10.
Very close. There's 9.
Whoa.
There's 10 fucking goddamn Hellraiser
wow, all
movies.
of them with Doug Bradley, the lead Cenobite. Okay, the one I'm talking about, the Matrix guy, he's called the Chattering Cenobite, and he was played by Nicholas Vince.
Wow.
Wait, there's one called Butterball Cenobite. How many Cenobites are there?
I think there was like 4 or 5, unless there's more in other
I only
movies.
saw 3.
No, but at the end they were killing them all. And
But there was
at
only 3.
least-
There was the main lead guy, there was the
Guy with the
Matrix
mouth
guy,
stretched.
and the lady. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There was a 4th guy.
Yeah.
So that would be the Chattering Cenobite by Nicholas Vince. He's the one with the horse mouth thing
Right.
going on. So the one that's Matrix must be the Simon Bamford who played Butterball Cenobite.
Butterball. The movie cost $1 million, but it made 14.6.
Wow.
So that's why they made 9 more sequels.
Wonder why they're called Cenobites, because it's almost like Cinnabon.
It's exactly like Cinnabon.
Yeah.
So what? After seeing it, do you remember the pieces of the movie? Did it seem familiar to you?
No, I never got that far. I got as far as the guy where his half body is slimy upstairs waiting for more victims. It was almost like a Black Widow situation.
That was Larry, the brother.
Yeah, Frank.
It was a weird
Frank.
movie. Like it really was not what I thought it was going to be. I understand the concept. I think the story is great. It really, I could see like if they went, you know what, guys, we're gonna remake Hellraiser. It would be scary as shit now.
If
with the
they did
technology.
Hellraiser now, which maybe 9 or something looked interesting, because I probably have bits and pieces of all the Hellraisers I've seen previews of, and going, hell no, hell no. Why is it called Hellraiser?
He's raising hell.
But
because,
there's no,
because
there's
the box
no.
is unleashing hell. I
Why do they
think
call it Hellbox?
because that's a terrible name.
They can't call it Labyrinth or
Dance magic dance. We listened to that. Today.
I didn't mind Hellraiser now. It didn't scare me. Now, things now that freak me out now these days would probably be like Saw. Just because it's nonstop torture.
Yes.
And I don't find that entertaining. I find like suspense and thrillers more creepy and scary than just mass amounts of murder that's happening. Like, I don't really go the route of Saw type movies. I need more thought or really cheesy.
Absolutely. Yeah,
or really cheesy.
Totally get that. I've got all of the Saw posters up in front of me here.
Wow.
And the last Saw movie, the most recent one, was 2017.
The green cover one
yeah?
from 2015. I remember
2005.
2005, sorry. I remember seeing something and it just every one of those covers creeped me out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I can go through all 9. We'll see.
I'm not watching all 9.
That's
a
a lot.
No, it's not
Is
worth
there
it.
going to be a land of Cenobites
I don't.
where they all eat Cinnabons?
I think a theme park. No, I don't think the movie is good enough to for us to spend our time watching all of that.
I think they missed a big opportunity here with the name Pinhead, which is like nails in the head, going the Slumber Party Massacre route and using a nail gun to kill people.
Yeah, that would have been great. Yeah. Yeah, it would have been great.
So yeah, we finally did that. I'm cool. I'm over it. I faced my fear on that one, and we can move on because I didn't find it so bad.
Just as a sidetrack, other movies as a kid that you think you saw too young that damaged you?
Just Vietnam movies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Those-
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Any war movies damaged me. And knowing that my dad was in Vietnam, it's like, my dad went through that shit. Fuck that.
Right.
Like, that was, to me, like, the apocalypse now.
Yeah.
His stuff is so damaging. Like, because there were some that's real. To me, that stuff really did happen.
Right.
Especially in Vietnam and war. Like, that stuff scares the shit out of me more so than these crazy Saw movies.
Oh, I'm going to name two. So I saw The Shining when I was way too young.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah, The
And
Shining was pretty
I
scary.
saw that after seeing like Friday the 13th and Freddy and all of those things. It scared me a little
Freddy
bit.
freaked me out too.
Freddy
the
was
first
scary
one.
because, shit, I'm totally unprotected when I'm dreaming. Like, what a great
And
concept.
did you go and find the only Elm Street in your neighborhood? Because
No,
we
we didn't have
went
that.
and found the Elm Streets in our
Oh,
neighborhood.
jeez,
Yeah,
jeez.
we'd have to go find
So
them.
when I saw The Shining, to me that was so much more relatable because it wasn't like a guy that just kept coming back to life and murdering you in the next movie. Like, this was just a guy, and I didn't really understand.
This is
I
more
didn't I didn't
suspense.
understand that he was being possessed by
Yeah.
the place, and it just seemed so much more realistic, and that scared the shit out of me.
But you don't even, at this point, you don't even need possession, like someone possessing you. Just staying somewhere in a long period of time can turn you crazy.
Right.
And so that to me was more so of what I thought it was about, is like just being in the snowed in place for a long period of time, like living in North Dakota in the winter.
Right.
But
So then sorry.
and the twins in the hallway,
yeah, great.
and now I see twins or any kind of weird twins situation, I'm like,
Twins are creepy.
twins are kids can be really creepy.
Oh yeah, they can be.
Twins can be any kids
Any kid
actually.
can be
Any
creepy.
kid can be super creepy if they wanted to be. If
Some of them are darlings.
they can be psychopaths.
Yes, that's true.
And kids in any kind of crazy horror movie do really well
Yeah.
at creeping you out.
That's true.
Dolls, really creepy.
So when you mentioned Vietnam, that completely went back to me. And so this was a movie that I saw in my 20s when I shouldn't have been so scarred and things. But that was when I watched the movie Deer Hunter.
Oh, fuck
And
yeah.
Deer Hunter,
Oh, and
when I
another
watched
one.
it, didn't even realize that there was a Vietnam aspect to it.
Yeah.
And so I'm watching this movie and it's like, oh, it's a quaint little town. It's got Robert De Niro in it.
starts off at a
And I think it
wedding.
has Meryl Streep in it. And
Is
it's
that where
got-
the wedding starts off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's his face? Oh God. I want to say Chris Christopherson, but that's not him. It's the other guy, Christopher Walken. Hey, I got a name. Christopher Walken's in it, and it's a charming little town. And then all of a sudden they're going to war, and then holy shit! All of a sudden they're captured. They're in prison. They're in jails underneath water. Remember, like the top
Yeah.
of them are just their heads coming out. And then the Russian roulette scene comes up, and that fucking freaks
But see,
me
to me,
out.
that freaked me out because
damaged me.
that really did happen.
I know.
That freaks me out. And like, that just reminds me of what was the movie you just talked about? Red Dawn? No.
Deer Hunter.
Okay, I'm gonna bring you to Red Dawn, where the Russians come into the United States and take over, and the teenagers have to be the heroes.
And growing up in the 80s,
And
when
that
it was
was
all about
crazy
the fear of the
too.
Russians.
And the guy said, "Take my daughters," because he know they're gonna die. He's like, "Take my daughters with you," and they're all living in the woods.
Yeah.
The daughters were in the basement, like a hurricane shelter. I
Right.
mean, a tornado shelter. And he's like, "Take my beautiful daughters with you guys." Like, that movie was insane, and all the parents. It was very much like a Nazi situation
Right.
in America,
Too
and that
fucking
movie
real.
freaked me out. See, movies like that to me really are more disturbing than, say,
Yeah.
just ripping someone open. Like, because this to me is like,
So the question,
holy shit, that could really happen.
The question is, like, through the 90s and the early 2000s, when it was all about Saw and all of these other things, has there been movies that really are relatable and scary that are way more scary?
I thought
That's real.
I'll bring up a movie, and I don't know the name, but I know you'll tell me what the name is.
Okay, bring
This is the movie that's gonna bring it home for you.
Okay.
The nuclear bomb movie, where they show everyone being blown up in the 80s, and they just show their skeletons.
I think it was called Threads.
Threads?
Mm-hmm.
Is that really what it's
I
called?
think it was a made-for-TV movie.
Okay,
and
that
it was
movie probably fucked with me
I
for
think
so long because
It was either a miniseries, but I remember being in like grade 5 or 6 or something like that, and everybody talking about that, and it was scary as shit and real because we all thought at any time the Russians were gonna nuke
Threads.
North America, and
It terrified a generation.
yeah,
It terrified. That, I think, is the number one thing that terrified me because we all watched that as a family. And when I saw that nuclear bomb go off,
what year was that? Because you might have been living in England at the time, right?
maybe
On a military base.
it just terrified. Just even seeing the skeleton as the nuclear bomb went through them, that terrified the shit out of me. Let's see. That was 1984. That was before England, which makes sense because I remember living in Paquito Bayou at the time.
Do they know it's Christmas after all? That was 1984 as well.
Oh, I was like, what? But okay, out of all the movies, do you agree that that was the most terrifying one of them all?
Oh, for sure.
The fact that I'm reading it online right now and people are saying it terrified a generation.
And in fact, I'm actually going to say, I don't think I ever saw the movie, but I remember my friend David Park telling me about this stuff.
And was he horrified?
And being fucking scared out of my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, you know, this was like the Reagan era. This is when
this could
Star
really
Wars,
happen.
This was the space, not the space race, but this was the nuclear race going on. And this was like, holy shit. And I think that's when I realized, like, there's shit beyond our control that we can't do anything about. And the next thing you know, there could be missiles in the air that are going to fucking wipe us all out.
Okay, before we go back to our movie list, I'm just going to read you someone's review.
Damn it, David
by
Park.
Benji Ali or something. He said, generally horrifying. I've always said that no film can really scare you as an adult as films scare you when you are a kid. The benchmark for that being watching The Omen on video when I was 13. Nothing ever quite lived up to it until now, which is crazy. And actually, Poltergeist kind of scared me too. Rewatching Threads made me change my mind. So this guy just kept going on. But I do think this is probably the most terrifying movie as a kid, for sure. And he wrote a pretty long review, but I loved what he said at the beginning. But it scared him as an adult too, he said.
Oh, wow.
Going back.
Okay.
So maybe we should rewatch it.
Jesus, let's look it up.
And be horrified. Wow.
And I think you just said two other movies that I don't think I've ever seen The Omen. I may have, but I wasn't a horror freak.
Yeah.
So I shied away from a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, from being married to me, I cannot see a scary movie in a movie theater.
No.
Gotta
it's
be
hard
at
to get
home.
you to go.
Gotta be at home.
He did end it with, it said it's depressing to think in 2004, because this is when he wrote the review, we were living in a world where politicians, again, are thinking about winnable wars. And
Right.
that's
Right.
again, it would probably terrify kids today to watch it, for sure.
I'm gonna add these little sidetracks onto our list here. But getting back to our list, there's 3 more movies.
Okay.
2 of them are one's a sequel. But we watched The BabySitter. First, we saw the trailer for The Babysitter Killer Queen, and then we realized that there was an original one.
We need to watch the
so
first
we
one
kind
first. Yeah.
ruined the first one by seeing the trailer for the second one.
Yeah.
But what do you remember about The Babysitter Killer?
It was interesting. I liked it. I mean, it's typical. Your friend brings everyone over while you're babysitting,
Right.
and it's going like it normally does. They
There's
have
a cute little
they have
relationship.
like the kid goes to bed. They have a little party.
Yeah.
And then shit goes from there.
But also, let's say the younger boy,
Yeah.
he's got a crush on his babysitter, which I
Yeah.
think we can all relate to.
So he's
and
watching
the older
yeah.
hot girl, the most popular girl in school. They've got this cute little relationship, and
They
then
do.
when
They actually have a smart relationship.
Yeah.
Like they talk about they're both into movies, and they're both talking about scenarios of movies and who would be like the best heroes if you put them all together. Like they'd have generally if they were the same age, they'd probably be dating.
right,
And you kind of think that maybe in life later, if they met up, because they're probably only like 3 years apart.
right,
If they met up later in life over the age of 18, they'd probably be dating
right.
or get back together because they have a really good relationship.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they thought he went to bed, so he's clearly spying on him, going, and they're having a party and they're spinning the bottle and she's like kissing another girl and he's like, oh my God, this is hot.
Yeah.
Like he was
Yeah.
just like, into it, right? And then it goes from shit because they invited some random kid to this party too, right? And then it goes from here because they just murder this kid
in someone else's
horrible
house.
way.
Yes.
Like she just takes 2 knives out of her back part,
I guess,
and just stabs him in the head
right.
and collects his blood.
Right.
They're kind of like witchcrafty in a way. Like they're reading from a witchcraft kind of book.
Right.
And they're trying to do a spell, I think, so they all can live forever.
I think so. Yeah,
they're working for the devil at this point,
right,
I think, or something.
Right.
So they got to do all these tasks to do this so they can live forever. Right. So these group of 5 teens or whatever, I think it was 5.
Yeah.
They're trying to do all these tasks, so they got to get a virgin. And at some point, the kid is the virgin, but they were trying to get his blood. While he was sleeping, they didn't plan on killing him, but then it all goes wrong. And of course, every murder is kind of funny, the way they all die. So
it's also that classic thing where instead of all of the older kids attacking him at once, one by one they go after him,
and it's
which
funny.
is really nice.
It's one of them kids, they actually like to murder, and he looks forward to it, and he's shirtless the whole time. And the jock, and he's like chasing him up the treehouse, and he's like, he kind of enjoys like the chase. He kind of lets him run off.
It's the cat and mouse thing.
He kind of likes it. Yeah, he's kind of like a cat, so he likes to play with them, and then everything gets interrupted because the neighborhood bully comes around to mess with him. Yeah, and he's like stops trying to murder him to go deal with this bully, and then you
should face your bully.
You should face your bully before I kill you.
Yeah.
So it's really, I highly recommend. I can see why they made so many.
This is also one of the things, like, this movie wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad.
It was actually pretty entertaining. It was well structured.
Yeah.
The characters were good. The stereotypical jock, the cheerleader, the hot girl, the nerdy girl, and then this kid who's really likable, ends up in this really fucked up situation. And by the time and the kid ends up killing all of these kids.
Basically, we don't want to ruin the whole thing, but I
want to ruin the whole thing.
It's a fun watch. I was so excited to watch part 2 because I was like, how are they going to come back? Because they basically all are dead at this point.
Right.
And the way that I won't kill the ending, but the way the first one ended was fucking funny as shit.
Yeah. I was satisfied watching this movie.
That was a good ending. Yeah. And of course it ended with something happening where it kind of indicates a part 2 is coming. So I love the ending. You fell asleep at the end, and I made you rewatch the ending the next day.
Yes, thank you.
Because I was like, you had to see the ending. It's epic. Right. It's ridiculous, but epic.
It was an awesome ending.
And how do you explain this to your parents when they come home? But
yeah.
And then part 2.
Part 2, I think, picks up a couple years later. It's still the same boy. He's a little bit older.
But the girl's in a different body?
No.
Wait, we forgot about his neighbor friend, the girl that he has another girl he has a crush on too, and it's a neighbor girl. And there's kind of like a little relationship going on there. She's back in part 2.
Right.
As like they're kind of dating but not dating, and I don't know.
She's dating somebody else. She's become a popular girl. He's a little bit. Well, everybody knows that he lived through this night. Yeah. So everybody thinks that he's a little fucked up. Yeah. Nobody really believes that this happened.
They still tease him.
He's older. He's ostracized a little bit. He's that weirdo kid that maybe went through something. Maybe he's a liar. But also, there's a big party this weekend way the fuck somewhere else out on the water that everybody's going to.
But it's one of those water things like in Vegas, that big dam.
Yeah.
It's like they're on a houseboat on this kind of water.
So the fact is there's no babysitter involved in this sequel at all.
No.
Because they're all of age that they don't need babysitters.
No.
But
it's more like a slumber party.
But I enjoyed this movie too.
Yeah, and it was all on a boat.
It's
more like a slumber party.
It's more like, what's that fucking rave thing in the desert?
Yeah, kind of like that in a way. And they're all just partying a rave. Oh, the stupid party.
Burning Man. It's kind of like a Burning Man thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, again, hot and sexy kids. And then something happens. And guess what? All of these kids that he murdered are all back.
And
that's in the trailer, so I'm not ruining anything.
Didn't they come back because she kills someone and it brings one of them back? Something she does brings it one back one by one. So as she eventually, I don't want to ruin the part where, because the lead girl is back, but back in a different form.
But not until way, way later in the movie.
No, she's been back the whole time.
Oh, was that what
Oh,
happened?
no. You're right.
Yeah.
So somehow
There's-
somehow the girl that he's friends with now
Yeah.
is working for the devil.
Right.
Somehow they got her.
Right.
I'm not sure how.
It's not really explained.
Yeah.
Also, in the first movie, we talked about there was a book of spells.
Yeah, he
Is
half burnt it.
Is that even in the second movie at all?
No, because he kind of half burnt it. So
Okay.
she's got to bring it back.
Okay.
So basically, she's working on bringing back all the characters. And at the end, she brings back the main character. She comes walking out of the water. And she's like, okay, I got everybody. Let's put them all on their own Jesus crosses and we can burn them.
Right.
And then we make the devil happy.
Would you recommend both of these movies?
I would.
Yeah.
I would. Just
I think so,
because
too.
it's like it kind of finishes up. There's chases and weird shit. And a girl comes across someone else in the desert camping trying to get help from him. He ends up being like a creep too. So
I would also point out that both of these movies, I think, were directed by Mick G, who is famous for doing that Charlie's Angels reboot.
Oh, okay.
And then I don't know what else the fuck he did, but somehow Mick G, that name has just always stuck with me. I think he's probably done a bunch of stuff. And if I was to look it up, I'd see a bunch of movies that he's done. So this movie has an energy about it. It's well crafted. It's not a B movie. It's structurally fine. The characters are good. It's interesting. It's exciting.
It's funny. I like that they keep the desk kind of funny-ish.
Yeah.
Like it's worth a watch for sure.
Totally.
Yeah. So what was the next movie?
So the very last movie, and we did a double bill last night. So we did Hellraiser with our friend Ray, who was over. And then the second movie that we watched was Tammy and the T-Rex.
I played this thinking we weren't going to get through it.
Yeah.
Because I, for sure, from the trailer, I thought she's going to have sex with a T-Rex.
So who is going to have sex with the T-Rex?
Tammy.
But who is it played by?
Denise Richards.
One of the worst actresses I've ever seen.
Yeah.
She has got. I almost said she's.
How
had
did she make it to James Bond?
She's had an incredible career. She really hasn't.
She's really good at walking out of the water, though.
I know why she. I mean, so
because in James Bond, she did the classic ocean walk out of the ocean in a bikini.
She was hot.
Wild Things.
Wild Things, making out with Neve Campbell.
Yeah.
She's a very attractive girl. She was in Starship Troopers. Not good in that movie. Not a good actress.
Well, clearly,
but
yeah.
hot enough and must have been very friendly. And she did a lot of movies in 4 or 5 years, as it turned out. She had this string of hits from one movie to the other. Tammy and the T-Rex early on, I guess. But you're right. Ended up somehow as a James Bond chick, which I get. Attractive.
And was she good in that James Bond? I have to go watch it again.
I'm going to assume not.
We have to go see. Because I watch her now on Housewives of Orange County or Beverly Hills.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I watch her on that now, and she's kind of a little fucked up. Like, she seems normal. When they first brought her on, I kind of thought, oh, okay, they're bringing someone who's not crazy onto the show. But she kind of is weird now, too. Like...
Well, okay.
She likes to talk about her husband's dick a lot on the Housewife show.
So you've got a girl that had success early in her 20s. She was attractive enough to get cast in movies. She didn't have the talent to be like a great actress. Then ended up marrying Charlie Sheen, having a couple of kids.
Yeah.
That's clearly a fucked up situation.
And she's still dealing with that situation because he cannot pay child support.
So probably completely understandable that she's a little bit fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that she's still dealing with him and like they still have kids back and forth and all that stuff. But at the same time, according to watching her in Housewives, is that he's not paying.
Because fuckers lost blowing all his money on hookers and blow.
According to the law, when you don't pay your child support, you go to jail.
Yeah.
So why is Charlie Sheen not in jail? But I don't know the whole story. Obviously, being on Housewives.
He's also probably rich broke.
Rich broke? Maybe.
Yeah.
Is he though? He hasn't been working. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
But he was making so
much.
She's
probably making more money right now than he is.
He was making so much money off that goddamn TV show that he shouldn't, if he was good with his money, which clearly he probably wasn't.
Yeah.
Anyways, we haven't talked about what Tammy and the T-Rex actually is.
Well, it's about Tammy and the T-Rex.
So, this movie stars Denise Richards and the late Paul Walker. Both very, very young. baby-faced little
Shit, I
kids.
forgot Paul Walker's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So
But he dies in this.
he also dies in this movie. And guess what? In real life, they did not put his brain into a goddamn animatronic
Why
T-Rex.
did not? They should have done that.
I know they totally should have done
They
that.
should
At
have
least put
done
him
that.
into a Porsche. Put his brain into
a Porsche?
into a
to
to
be
a
like
car.
a Mad Max situation?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that Mad Max with the truck that comes alive? There was another movie where it was a killer truck, like a 18-wheeler.
So there's a
And he comes alive.
very famous movie called Duel, which I've never seen. It's one of Spielberg's earliest movies.
Is that the truck that comes
Yeah,
alive?
and it's a truck that's basically killing Dennis Weaver.
That scared me too, that movie.
Did you see that movie?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
There's a killer truck, and I think there was a part 2 where there's another killer truck, and they come together and they fight.
Oh,
I don't remember.
man.
I just remember the killer truck
Okay.
and it being possessed.
God damn it.
And at the end, that just remembers of another
should look
thing
that
I've
up.
watched as a kid that scared the shit out of me that kind of relates to Threads, but I will talk
amazing.
about that afterwards.
That's amazing.
So
Okay, so this movie, Paul Walker's character is he's the football, not even a star. He's the jock in the movie.
It's just classic
Denise
high school
Richards
movie,
is the hot chick. She's got a badass ex-boyfriend
who won't
She
let her go.
Won't let her go. We've all been there. She wants to be with Paul Walker. Boyfriend's very upset. He and his thug friends basically beat the shit out of Paul Walker. Drive him
first of all,
to an abandoned.
First of all,
Go ahead.
His friends, the bad guy's friends, drove by her house, Denise Richards, and saw him sneaking into her bedroom.
Those bitches.
And they're like, we got to go tell Billy. Because clearly she wants to sleep with Billy. So she's got to tell him everything.
Yeah.
So we got to go and then Billy shows up with all his friends and they barge into her parents' house. And the parents are just like, open the door and they're like, don't do anything about it. And they let him run into the house and practically want to kill this guy.
Yeah.
And the parents like, oh, don't know what to do. They won't
Call
stop.
the police.
Call the police. Also, even after they raid the house, you still call the police and have them arrested.
Yeah.
Nothing was ever done about
They
this.
know the names of all these kids. They know exactly who these kids are.
Yeah.
They throw fucking Paul Walker into the trunk. They drive him to the zoo.
With all the animals are together.
They're all in one captive
all
place.
the kinds of cats.
We got a lion.
Yes.
Jaguar.
Tiger.
Black Panther.
Surprised it's not a bear.
I don't know what the bear was.
A cougar.
A cougar for sure.
They're all sharing this land like a drive-through zoo.
Do you remember which animal killed him?
Is it the lion? The
Yeah, I think it
lion
was
with
the
the
lion.
mane.
It was
Yeah,
the
I have to think of Lion King to think of one.
Then
of the
there's
main.
this whole subplot about some evil.
Well, actually, it didn't kill him.
That's true.
It mangled his arm.
But he was very much unharmed
He was in
when
a
he was in
coma.
that hospital bed.
He was in a coma.
In a coma.
In a coma.
Yeah. There's a sub-story of somebody that's making an animatronic computer, not generated, but it's a computer-controlled T-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know why.
And a kid is running the machine.
Yeah. And so that's a parallel story. And he's like obsessed with making this thing real and true to life. And he needs to get a brain because he doesn't think the computer is good enough. And just so happens there's a young hot man who's who's almost passed away, and they put his brain into the T-Rex.
You know what's funny? When the T-Rex does come to life,
Mm-hmm.
the T-Rex at some point has longer arms than said arms on
His
a T-Rex.
arms are growing all over the place.
The T-Rex likes to do things with his arms. He likes to dial he goes to a payphone. Oh, well, actually,
hilarious.
So Paul Walker's brain is in the T-Rex, so clearly he realized at some point he's a T-Rex, and he's like walking around town trying to look for Denise Richards.
You know when he realized that when he picked up the hand mirror.
Yeah, he picked up a
looked at
hand mirror,
himself.
and no way can a T-Rex take a hand mirror and look at his face. That like arms literally don't go that high.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things where he picks up a phone and he tries to call Tammy.
Yeah.
And he's dialing the phone too with his little. So there's an actor playing the arms.
Yeah.
So clearly he can do things with his arms.
Yeah.
And there's a point where he played charades with Tammy to tell her that it's him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like doing the pointing to his eye and like sounds like there's no way he can reach his ear.
That's so true.
So I mean, just for those moments alone, watching
great.
the hand actor was great.
Fabulous.
But the thought of like he couldn't actually physically do some of the things they were doing with his hands.
No.
So And there was a point where they were in a barn, which kind of looks like they had sex, but maybe because they're like, "Are you decent?" They were like, they knew they were together in there.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, did they?
I don't know what to say about this movie other than we planned to maybe just see how it started, and we watched the whole damn thing, and we were enjoying
You and Ray
every
stayed
moment.
awake.
Yeah.
And usually you don't stay awake at this point.
Not on the second movie. Not after having some drinks.
The way the T-Rex runs around and kills all the people that are involved in his little massacre, yeah, it was funny.
I did close my eyes a couple times in this movie.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was drifting off, and then it just compelled me to keep my eyes open again.
Well, there
and
was
keep
like
watching.
kids hiding under. Okay, there was kids hiding underneath a car because he raided a party with the T-Rex, and we're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
And I knew that he was gonna crush the car and just crush the kids' heads. So the car went down, and the kids' heads exploded. So things like that. He just goes on a thing, and then they're trying to find a new body to put him in because they tried to use his body, but they opened up his thing, and there's like worms and rats in there because that happens right away after a funeral.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to find him a new body. The funniest part was when they went to a morgue and she's like holding dead bodies up to a window. She has her friend who's a black man, gay,
who's the son of the sheriff,
which was a funny character.
Yes.
And she's like, hold him up to the window. And so like what's really weird is when in the morgue she goes all to the one side of the room was all black folk that were dead.
Yeah.
Which was odd. And then there was a woman, and she's like, I don't want a woman. I don't want a woman. And then, like, all everybody else is old. So she has her black gay friend hold him up, the bodies up to the window. And the one part I thought was really funny is he grabbed a black man, put him up to the window, goes, how about a brother? Do you want a brother? Do you want a brother?
Right.
And then he holds up an Asian boy
and,
like, a young boy. It was just really funny. It was a funny scene. I thought that was really funny.
It was.
But then they like, quickly left there because there was nobody that he really wanted. He actually thought about the woman for a minute, like, maybe I could be a woman. And the T-Rex scratched his head. He's like, he looked up and he was like waving his hand like, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
That's just super duper comedy.
Totally worth watching. I kind of remember this movie being, what was that show we went to?
How Did This Get Made?
Podcast. We went and watched the one show we went to watch wasn't this movie, but the next one was in Los Angeles, and that was the movie. And I would love to listen to the podcast that they talked about this on because it would have been really funny. It
would have been great.
I would have loved to see what they had to say because there's so much to make fun of in this movie in a good, fun way. Right. Totally worth watching. When it first started, I thought, does this belong on Shudder? I don't know if it is a Shudder movie, but then I saw all the killings, and apparently there's an alternate version of this movie that's more gory and more nasty, and they didn't put it out. So I would love to, and it was actually has a different name to it. And it's called Tammy the T-Rex with its subtitle.
Ooh, director's cut.
If somehow there's it's got to be out there.
Somebody's got to find this for us.
It's got to be out there because I would love to see it because they're claiming it's more boobs, more gory, more everything. And I'm just like, okay.
More Tammy.
So I would love to see this version of this movie. And there's more information about that at IMDb about this secondary movie.
Wow. Okay.
So I loved it. I'm trying to remember how it ended.
Well, first of all, you've been waiting and waiting and waiting to see her, Denise Richards, riding on the T-Rex.
Oh, yeah. She rode into the sunset with
Yeah, that's right.
So she conveniently her T-Rex boyfriend, you can ride him.
Yeah.
And not in the sexual way, but ride him into the sunset.
You can ride him in a sexual way as well.
But yeah.
They're in love.
Oh,
I can't wait. So here's the idea for part 2. It's the high school high school reunion.
Well, they got to find a new body. Back. They're still on the search for the new body.
No, I think he accepts himself as a T-Rex.
No, it ended with, one day find you the right body. I'm just already
writing the sequel.
We're going to find you the new body. Yeah. You're going to get the new body. Your brain's going to be rejected.
Right.
Or something. Or she needs to be a T-Rex as well.
That's more complicated, I think. I think that's way more complicated.
It'll be interesting, but I doubt they'll ever do it.
I think they should just love each other with the bodies that they're in.
Yeah, it might be complicated.
Although, I don't know where I mean, she would have to sort of get some money together and open up a theme park, like somewhere where the T-Rex would make sense as an attraction, a circus.
Oh, there was one point where the T-Rex bit the middle of their body out and got like organs stuck in his teeth, and so he used his tiny arms to reach up and pick his teeth.
Again, I don't think they can touch their mouth.
I don't think so either.
Man.
But yeah, it was good. It's a good laugh. If you want a good laugh for a movie, it's a good one to watch for sure.
So just looking at our list, and I'm going to pass it over to you too. What was your favorite thing, or what was your favorite movie? They're not spectacular, not compared to the first episode we did.
But you know what? I really kind of enjoyed Tammy the T-Rex. I would have to say the BabySitter series we watched was really fun.
They're the best movies.
The one that was the most ridiculous was Slumber Party Massacre.
The best title.
I would think my favorite would probably be the BabySitter and the BabySitter Killer Queen. I had to put them together because it was just an interesting concept.
These were all B movies, basically. These were all B movies that are entertaining enough, and even some of them being so bad, they were enjoyable too.
Yeah, Monster Party had potential for sure, but didn't finish that way. But Tammy the T-Rex was the most fun, for sure.
Yeah.
And ridiculous. So, what was your favorite?
I probably will agree with you. I think the BabySitter ones were the best movie. The second one was probably this. No, I don't know. I think they were the strongest. I mean, watching Donovan in a full movie was really cool too. I thought he was a standout, so I thought that was one of the funnier performances.
Yeah. He
did a lot of improv in that movie, so that was kind of cool. I could tell from just it's funny. You know, you're connected with these people, and I love funny people, and so he's a guy with a great personality and funny, and we riff back and forth when he's cutting my hair.
Yeah.
And so seeing him, it's just like that's the guy who fucking cuts my hair. Like he's just funny like that, right?
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And,
now those are my favorites out of this set we watched.
Yes.
Altogether, though, I would have to. It's a tie, though.
It's still going back to what we liked the first episode.
Damn it! There's 3. I can't just pick one.
Okay, what do you got?
And not even in the right order. The Mortuary Collection, Housebound, and Dead Detectives, and Zomboat. There's 4. There's 4. Zomboat would be my number 1.
That first episode is full of great things to
Okay,
watch.
Zomboat would be my number 1.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What was your number 1? Zomboat, probably.
Zomboat's so fucking terrific.
Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, and then we're going to probably watch something tonight. Halloween. Yes.
It's 11 o'clock. Halloween is still going.
Yeah.
We got
a full moon.
This in. Yes.
The time goes back.
We get an extra hour.
Back time.
We get an extra
hour of horror.
Of 2020, which no one asked for.
Not of the horror. Of horror.
Yes.
We get an extra. It's a trifecta tonight on Halloween.
Yes, it is.
Well, we can add a 4th too because we have COVID in there. So I'm just wondering how many more COVID cases we're gonna get tonight.
Oh fuck! I don't even want to think about that, but I know it's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be bad.
We've been trending badly.
COVID candy.
I
don't know what trick or treaters are doing with their candy when they get home.
Hopefully.
Do you have to let the candy bag sit there for like a week?
Could you imagine if you were a kid doing that and had to wait for your candy? It's terrible. Yeah. Anyways.
I don't think I'd let my kids trick or treat.
No. But thank you for listening, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, I'd love it if you went to iTunes and left a review.
Mm-hmm.
So look for Weird Together on there. Please give us a 5-star. And if you want to leave us a comment.
Yeah, and let us know what you've watched for Halloween, what your favorite was.
Yeah.
Did you go and watch any of the ones we watched?
If you've seen any of these movies, let us know. Go to anchor.fm/weirdtogether and give us your review of one of these amazing titles. What did you like? What is terrible? What are we dead wrong about?
Dead wrong.
And
now we have 3 others we need to go watch. At least, again, rewatch Threads and Poltergeist and Omen, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You've never really seen the, what's the one where they're possessed? Is that the Omen? No. Where the girl's possessed in the bed?
That's Poltergeist.
Okay. No, that's not Poltergeist.
Yeah, it is.
No, the girl that's possessed and she's in bed the whole time, she throws up on the priest.
I believe that's Poltergeist.
Not Poltergeist.
They're back.
Nope, it's not. I think it has to do with Omen. I bought the series Amityville. Amity Horror. Amity something. I have the
Amityville Horror is that
I have the
box
collection.
set. Yeah.
Amityville though? I keep thinking of Jaws.
It's the same name. It's like
Is it?
it's like the same town.
Let me look.
Okay. I'm gonna pause right there. I know I'm right about Poltergeist. Damn it.
It's not Poltergeist, babe.
No, but that's the young girl, the blonde girl.
Nope.
Oh, well, Poltergeist is the same damn thing.
The whole time.
Amityville Horror.
Yes. Where she's possessed.
The house possesses the people inside.
And you've never seen it.
Never saw the original. Saw the Ryan Reynolds one.
That one scared me.
That one was good.
Okay. The other one we have to watch is Amityville because that's not Poltergeist.
Never seen the original.
Yeah.
Never seen it.
Yeah. There's a few to see.
Okay.
So we have to do that too.
Again, famous movie in our collection that
Mm-hmm.
we bought multiple years ago. Haven't watched.
You haven't watched. I've seen.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yep.
Thank you for listening. And until next time.
Goodbye, humans.
Boo.
Boo.